Comments or anything here, or people can chat to us or no?
We'll be able to see comments. I'll feed some questions.
Okay.
I made a post earlier today too, so people, submit
and I
questions.
saw, and I'll clarify that we were not bought by PSA.
Right.
Collectors Holdings, which is the Dan Sunheim, Steve Cohen, Nat Turner company. Are we live?
We're live. We're live,
cool.
Ken.
Okay. So, hey everybody.
That's it.
To my house.
He just wants to dive right in.
office.
He's like, that's it. I don't want an intro. I want a misconception cleared up. I'm Ken Goldin, and I can't have misrepresentation. It's got to be the facts. Only the facts.
So, Collectors Holdings is the group that's owned by a lot of people. Steve Cohen, Ken Kendrick, Dan Sunheim, Nat Turner, the Chernin Group, Adam Bain, Dick Costello, founders of Twitter, and a whole bunch of others. That's the conglomerate. They're the ones that bought Collectors Universe. They're the ones that bought Wada Games, and they also acquired Goldin. I did not take cash. What I did was I basically took stock in the parent company. So no, we are not owned by PSA. PSA doesn't tell us what to do. I don't tell PSA what to do. And I get my cards graded by whoever I think is appropriate to grade that particular card. So anybody who knows me, you were very kind. You said 25 years of history. It's more like 40 years of history. Doing this since I was 12. You guys can do the math. And I, luckily for Nat, he knew me for 5 years before we did the deal. So he knew what he was getting into. And he knew that Goldin is separate. I'm running Goldin. I don't do anything different today than I did 6 months ago or 12 months ago or 2 months ago.
But we can jump right into that. I mean, I love that.
Now we can start.
I'll just jump right into it because we're gonna talk about the convention. But
yep.
I'd be remiss, right? So one of the things that I said when this I don't want to call it a merger, when this union occurred, was one of the things Ken and his auction house does is they do descriptions, right? I mean, I tell Andrew I get books from every auction house, and he's like, books? What are you talking about? It's online. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm telling you, I get like it's like a coffee table book. It's amazing. You probably have people dedicated to just doing that stuff. And I mean, I love them. I save them. So I say, one of the things that Ken and the auction house does is they have to say, all right, this mantle is a PSA 5. For PSA 5, it's good on the centering. It's got some good corners. It probably could have been better on this. It's a little off center. And now I would ask, I think I know the answer, but we're two separate companies operating independently, but I want to hear from you. What I said was, and tell me I'm wrong, because that's why you're here, was, hey, can Ken still do that? Can his auction house, can they take pot shots at the PSA grader who graded this, 5 years ago, whatever it is, and say, hey, this is not a good 5, or hey, this is a really good 5. It should have been a 6. What were you guys smoking over there? So talk to me about that.
Yeah, the answer is absolutely. We point out flaws in every single card. If a card is an 8 and it's poorly centered, we will make sure we say poorly centered. If a card is a 6 and it has a crease that may not show up in a scan, we're going to point out, hey, because we don't want someone to come back, get the card back and say, return it to us, because somebody pays.
Yep.
We pay our consignor, and then they send the card back to us, and we're shit out of luck because, we poorly described. In fact, that's the one thing in our rules that says we will take, if we make a description error, we take it back. So yeah, we treat everybody the same. There was actually a big joke at the National, although I'm not sure if he meant it as a joke, but my director of social media went to the PSA booth to get his personal Ken Goldin card graded. Yeah. And they told him we're too busy, mail it to us. And he didn't want to wait. So he said, what do I do? I said, is BJS open? He goes, yes. And go to BJS. Have him grade the card for you. And he did. and he tweeted it. Nat Turner.
And I saw Nat's tweet.
BGS question mark?
I saw Nat's tweet.
But we deal with everybody. First of all, what people also have to realize is on vintage cards, about 98% of all vintage cards come to us graded. So it's not like, we chose to take this to PSA or anything like that. And I would say about 90% of all modern cards, about 95% of all modern cards come to us graded, and about 85% of all ultra modern, by ultra modern past 5 years, so to speak. People pulling a card, out of a box break, and they're sending us the card, and we go out and express service graded wherever we do that. So most of the stuff comes to us graded anyway, and we work for our consignor. So our job is to do what we think the consignor wants us to do. And hey, if, like anything else, if somebody sends us a BGS 9, and I know that card in the PSA 9 is going to be worth more money, I sent the PSA. I think I've tried to cross over 50 BGS cards since this deal was done, and I know that I'm 0 for 50. I haven't gotten a single. I haven't gotten a single friggin' one crossed. It's frustrating, but it is what it is.
Listen, so that'll shut me up and a lot of other people. You hear that guy's 0 for 50. I mean, that's as bad as I am. So, Ken's not skipping the line. He's not getting any preferential treatment. So, I mean, there you go. The proof's in the pudding. But go ahead, Andrew.
So, Cage, we've done 390 episodes at this point. This one is going exactly as I would expected, because Ken gave himself an intro. And I love it, because we have Ken Goldin, we have the legend of the hobby. And today we're going to talk a lot about, what happened at National in the future, right? But just if we take a step back, we have guys double coverage here from Australia in the comments. We have people from Europe. We have people in the US who couldn't make National. And my intention was, with this 10 for 10, was to use our platform, which is a daily show, to have 10 industry leaders, 10 guests, 10 buyers from National share their experiences. Come on in. I had no idea it was Ken who'd be number one, who'd be batting leadoff. But we got fortunate, and I'm grateful to have your time today, Ken. And, we're going to get into all that stuff. But for me, selfishly, I've never heard the story. And I want to know, because we saw so many kids at National. The age was like 20 years younger. What was your, how did you get into collecting? Why did you start collecting?
So this is really going to freak everybody out. Somebody asked me, because I guess I look younger. And I know modern. Most people my age don't know jack about modern. And part of that is because I used to run a card company. And he asked me, what was the first autograph you got? What was the first pack you opened? And I said, the first pack I opened in my life. And he said, yes. And I said, I know for a fact it was 1972 Topps, because Steve Carlton became a Philly. He was having an amazing year, and I was looking for Steve. He looked at me like, you're kidding me, right? I said, no. I was 5, and I opened up a 1972 Topps card, and I used to buy cards. I legitimately opened up 72 Topps, 73 Topps, 74 Topps, 75 Topps. I love that set, and paid that little price you see on the packs for all those cards. But what got me started was, I guess I was 12, and I had some friends over in my basement, and I had this electric race car set, like Lolas and Ferraris and whatnot. It was, back in 1979, that was the big thing, right? No video games, no internet. And somebody really liked it. And he said, would you want to do something with it? Would you want to trade? And I said, maybe. I said, what would you trade? And he said he would trade me his baseball card collection for my electric car set. And I knew his baseball card collection was about 5 times as big as mine. So I jumped all over that. He probably got a retail $29 set, and I probably got cards which at the time were worth $500. So then I sorted them all out. I tried to figure out, how can I figure out what this stuff is worth? I would go to flea markets. I made one really, really, really big purchase at flea market from some guy who was going into the Army, and the store owner was too busy to talk to him. I hit my dad and said, follow him. We went out to his car. He opened. I said, hey, what do you got? And it squeaked a little voice. My voice hadn't changed. I was probably 4'11" at the time. I'm 6'1" now. And he said, I'll show you. We went. I told my dad, follow him. So we went to his car. He had some 4-door card with one of those giant trunks. Opened up the trunks. There were 6 gigantic garbage bags, 6 like the Master Hefty size bag. I poked into him. It was every one of them was just full of cards. Every one of them was full of cards. I said, what do you want? He said, $100. I didn't argue. I said, Dad, pay him, pay him. My dad looked in his wallet, had about $70. I took the money out of my dad's hand, handed it to the guy, and said, will you take this? He said, sure. So we backed up my dad's car. We put him in the trunk, and my parents didn't see me for the next probably 3 months. I was in my basement, which is why that night I was on with Gary Vee. I said we came out of the basement and into pop culture because I used to always go into my basement and sort my cards. Probably ended up with complete or partially complete sets of every single set that was produced from maybe 1959 to 1979 at the time. And said, okay, I picked out the best one, set all the others aside. So what do I do now? I bought a Sporting News, saw a little ad at the back for Sports Collectors Digest, a little ad in the back for Trader Speaks. Bought ads in there, started buying and selling cards, and every week I would sell. And then whenever I got in to sell, I would put little ads in the paper or go to shows, and I would buy, and I would like set up at like the Philadelphia Sports Collectors Card Show and the Cherry Hill Mall show, and all that type of stuff, selling cards just like they do now, except I wasn't selling anything for $50,000 or $100,000 or even $5,000. Everything was probably $1, $5, $10, and maybe $20 for Mickey Mantle cards. But that's how I started in the business.
Garbage bags. How many PSA 10s were in there?
Probably zero. Probably a big zero. There were 70,000 total cards. Probably not one card that would be gem mint.
You know what's funny?
That was fine. Back then the grading was important, but it was not. It was nothing. It was very very minor.
100%. I mean, people listen to this and go, oh my God, garbage bags. Ken, I mean, when I started collecting in the mid 80s, my cards were all in a milk crate. Remember those like plastic milk crates that people would sit on in the corner? And I remember, using that for the first couple of years I was collecting because I had a lot of cards, a lot of packs. I remember one of the younger kids on the block saying, hey, if we're going to trade, you should probably, you should probably get some better stuff for your cards, like they're going to get dented. And I'm like, oh, I guess the condition matters. Like I remember, like when I started collecting, it's like I just want the guys. I just want the Mattingly.
It is the old binders and plastic sheets. And if I show you Paul's stuff, anything that is not slabbed, he's got these binders and he wrote basketball on it, or he wrote Pokemon on it, or he wrote baseball on it, and he's got, sheets of cards. Unlike me, he does not go back. I went back to back because conserve sheets back then.
Yeah, save some money.
He's got my money, so he's just putting one card in. He's not stuffing 5-6 cards in a sleeve.
What's the craziest card Paul ever pulled?
The craziest card Paul ever pulled was probably a 2003 Bowman LeBron limited to 1500.
Wow.
So
Not
yeah,
bad.
I would say that's probably limited to 500. Let me see if I have it here. Hold on.
Go get Paul. Go get Paul.
No.
Cards here. He's got his own special.
Yes, that's so we got some trolls in the comments. This girl Laura Goldin. I don't know if there's any affiliation. She has 6'1", 5'11" at the most. And people are asking, are you drinking Perrier?
There's Laura repping Bleecker.
Oh God. No, Laura, I'm 72 and a half inches in 72 and a half inches in socks. So
All right. Well, let's fast forward. So 2022,
sure. Yep.
National. This was the first National after 24 months when we didn't have Nationals.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What was your impression?
We're not in 2022 yet, Ken. We don't want you to go to
2021.
Oh, it's 2021. Oh.
Yeah, and maybe you could listen. That's the Chicago is legal, so give them a pass. So maybe you can compare. I mean, 19 to 21. How different was it? Because I'm sure.
So first, this was ridiculous. It was, it. Let me tell you, if I was not married, or if I did not have a 3-year-old and 7-year-old at the house, or if it were not for COVID, I would have flown in on Monday and I would have flown back on Monday. That was like the greatest hobby experience of all time. It was just the first thing I noticed, and 2019, I was like, I wasn't really paying that much attention to a lot of things because we had a live auction going, and it was, business was cranking up. But in 2018, I'll compare it to 2018. The average age of somebody at this national had to be at least 15 years younger, maybe 20 years younger, but at least 15 years younger. And I'll throw out a stat. I looked at the Wikipedia of National and try and figure out, because I knew I forgot I missed one. Paul was born in 2013 on August 6th. His birthday's this Friday. So I could not go to the 2013 National. So I thought this was my 30th National. It's actually my 29th, which means next year in Atlantic City, it's going to be my 30th National, which actually may add up to the number of Nationals your next 9 guests have been in combined. I don't know who you have, but I'm going to say that's a reasonable guess. 29 might be a good over under. But it was absolutely incredible. Everything about it was amazing. The dealer booths, first of all, I used to go through the show and I used to walk around. It'd be the same grumpy guys behind the same grumpy tables with the same vintage cards with the same prices on them that they had in Atlantic City, that they had in Cleveland, that they had in Chicago, that they had in Baltimore. All that completely changed. Everybody had the same exact booth. I went there in my content department, and everybody, I found out what my booth was going to look like literally when I showed up, because we did something new, and I thought, wow, we're going to do something new, and we're going to be the only ones. Everybody who's like big in the industry had something brand new. The amount of product, the stuff stacked up at Fish's booth, Blowout, and David Adams, who was right next to us, it was just enormous amount of product. I told people they said, what's your assessment? I said, my assessment is average age is 15 to 20 years younger per person. There's got to be $1 billion worth of merchandise in the room, and there's got to be over $100 billion in the bank accounts of the people that are in the room. It is just this. We grew up at this national. This is no longer a card show. This is our Comic-Con. I mean, this was high class. It was professional. The people, they were waiting at 8:30 in the morning to get in. They didn't want to leave at the end. I had a dinner, and went by the Lowe's Hotel, and I think at like 11:30 at night, everything was all over the floor. I had so many different things. I had on was it Wednesday night or Thursday night? Thursday night, I had 2 fillets because I could have had 3 because I had our dinner, so I had a fillet at our dinner. And then I had somebody else's dinner that they told me I absolutely had to go to. And I told Nat Turner he had to come with me because I promised him I'd bring Nat. And Nat, of course, was up till 6 in the morning the night before because he took Steve Aoki up on his invitation to see him at Tao at 1:30 in the morning. I knew better than to do that. So I did not go to that at 1:30 in the morning. I've seen videos of some Brian. If you're watching, I saw you drunk off your ass.
Ken, you got some fancy shirts. Steve Aoki could use 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Another guy likes to party with no shirt on.
It is the healthiest. It is. I could not say enough about, and it's not. I don't want to say it was the best run show of all time. I don't want to say it was the best food or that everything worked with clockwork. What I am talking about is if you had a booth or table at the National, or if you had a ticket and you showed up, you are what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the promoters. I'm not talking about the convention center. I'm not talking about the concessions. I'm not talking about the athlete guests that showed up. I am talking about the people. Everybody there really wanted to be there. Everybody there loved it. Everybody there was excited to be there. Everybody there, I'm not raving too much. Everybody there felt an energy. Everybody there wanted to meet all these people that they have been, it sucks to me that like literally for the 2 weeks ahead of time, all we heard about was Delta variant. It probably scared some people. And look, I'm sure some people may have, especially if they were unvaccinated, may have left, and if they weren't wearing a mask, they may have COVID. But it sucks that happened right before the show, because I think it would have been crazier. I think it would have been bigger. You know, it was, I cannot rave enough about it. I'm already making plans for 2022. It's about 50 minutes away from our office in Atlantic City. I've got a beach house literally 5 minutes away from the convention center.
Party at Ken's next year?
Huh?
Will there be an event at your house
Yeah,
at the beach house next year? Steve
party on my
Aoki?
beach.
Party at Ken.
Multiple parties on my beach next year. Yeah.
So listen, let me try. It wouldn't be alive. It wouldn't be Cage doing something here if I didn't try to piss on your rainbow. So
Okay.
you threw this great thing out there, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm gonna tell you. So we started real small. You started small.
Mhm.
You know, you started with garbage bags. You
Yep.
know, giving $70 to some guy in the back of a hatchback, right? So we started small, and one of the things we promised everybody was we're going to try to respond to everybody's message.
Sure.
And that's gotten a lot harder for me, and I'm not you, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I get it. We're growing. We got a lot of hobby fans. We got a lot of love from our folks from Luca Nation, we call them.
Mhm.
And I try not to go to sleep at night without messaging everybody back, and it's getting
Mhm.
tedious.
Yep.
And that's just me. Again,
Yep.
I'm not you. So, what would the Ken from 2 years ago say about the Ken now? Now, what I mean by that is, you're not as accessible, and I don't know whether or not it's possible for you to be, right? But keep in mind.
There you go. Uh-oh.
Oh, he needs his Perrier. He knows there's a tough question coming, right?
Oh my God.
He's
What do I do
parched.
with it?
Look what I did
I'm
to him.
sitting here with my Diet Coke and no Perrier. Uh-oh.
That's
Go
it.
ahead.
Diet Coke.
You and Cage are kindred spirits.
Diet Coke better than Perrier every single time.
Ken wasn't happy about the price gouging of Diet Cokes at the National.
$6 and change. That was ridiculous. But here's
Okay,
the
go
question,
ahead.
just so that I
Ken
get
Goldin,
it,
go
right?
ahead.
So you're
2000
Ken, right?
Yeah.
So what drew us all to this at one point in time was we were kids. It's a hobby. We enjoy it. We love it, right? We love the collecting. We love the community. We love the atmosphere. We love the stuff. But as the room becomes $100 billion of wallets in the room, right? As there's, I think, $1 billion in product in the room is probably low because there are $1 million cards in the room. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, you're right. Probably right.
So $1 billion in product, 100 billion, and Ken Goldin's job has become the wooer of big money. Right? Instead of the ambassador of the hobby, the face of the hobby, how are you going to balance that? And specifically, how are you going to make Ronaldinho more accessible than just 15 people? And that's the specific question, right? Like everybody wants to see him, right? Everybody wants to talk to Ronaldinho, but he can't, right? So tell me in your mind, how do you balance that out? Because, you don't want to be the hobby elite. The hobby shouldn't have elite. I mean, talk to me about that, right? Because there are plenty of people.
Okay, so the first thing I want to, obviously, one thing that I know is a comment was the size of the biceps on my security guard.
Yeah, huge.
So let me tell everybody this.
They look like these.
First of all, I whenever I could, I snuck away. What people want. One thing that happened as a result of this deal, there is an extremely large 8-figure Keyman life insurance policy on me. The other thing people have to know, which is unfortunate, I remember in 2013 and 2016, I would go to CNBC, I'd go to Bloomberg, I'd go to Fox, New York City. Those days I wore a suit and tie. I stopped wearing the ties. I may wear a jacket, I may not wear a jacket, but I just screw it. I'm going on TV. I don't need to wear a tie. I hate ties. So, but what I remember the joke. I carried the Jumbo Wagner, and I just walked in the studio, and I said, oh yeah, you can hold it. You just pulled it out of my inside pocket. I said, no security, no bodyguards. I said, well, first of all, that will attract attention to me. Second of all, I'm walking around with a suit and tie in New York City. I said, I'm just like any other businessman, any other millions businessman walking around. Nobody knows that I'm carrying at the time $3 million. Now it's a $15 million card. I can't do that anymore because there are people who will recognize me, and there actually was a attempted setup to rob me in New York a couple months ago, where I showed up somewhere and somebody was supposed to set up a meeting, and they called me when I got there and said the police arrested the guy you were supposed to see. He had a weapon, and at that point in time, I was told, hey, you're not going anywhere. You don't know without security from now on. So that's unfortunate. When the TV show comes out, I'm sure it will be even less possible for me to do that. Look, I'm not, people who don't know our business think I'm walking around with $500,000 in cash, or that I can reach in my pocket and pay somebody in crypto. You can't, and I'm not. But that's what it is there. And yeah, no, I I closed 2020 with about 24 employees. Now I think I've got 75. The first catalog we did in 2012, the very first auction we did, if you look at the catalog, I wrote every description in the catalog, and I did everything. I even helped pack and ship. I did everything except take photographs because I'm a lousy photographer. I did all the ads. I did all the promotion. I did everything. There was like 3 of us. Now, obviously, I've got different people. Look, it's a bigger business. I still, anytime something goes wrong in the company, believe me, everybody still contacts me. My name is on the door. My name is in the stationery. My name is on the website. My name will still be on the new website when it's launched in 2 months. So yeah, I still have people DM me. Do you know where my order is? Email me or text me. Hey, can you check if you received my package? And I could be rude or flippant. I'm not. At least I hope I'm not. What I do is I email them and I contact them and say, hey, this is it. But yeah, no, there's no doubt that unfortunately, by the nature of what has happened to our industry and by the nature of what has happened to my business, where I was doing 27 million in 2019, which was great. It was great. It was a distant number 2 to Heritage, which did 70 that year, but it was great. To now having done, doing, I don't know where we are now for this year, but I know first 6 months, $220 million in the first 6 months of this year. So it does change things. It doesn't change who I am and how I view things, but it does change what I may know, what I have access to, and some of the accessibility to me personally.
I'm curious,
Fair.
and this is a good place. It was perfect place to dovetail because that's 220 million without doing pop culture and comics.
Correct.
And I'm curious, and this was a question that came up 3-4 times from different people. Does Goldin have a plan to get into comics, to get into pop culture? Could you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. So we have an auction running right now. Everybody go out and bid. In fact, I want you all, while you're here, go to goldinauctions.com and if you're not, I'm sure my guess is probably 90% of your audience is registered and 100% knows who we are. But if you're not, go there and start previewing it. In 2 days, you would have looked at every card because I think there's 3,600 items. We have our August card and memorabilia auction, which is starting the 11th to 21st. After that, we have our first ever pop culture. We're calling it's not really pop culture. It's comics, TCG, and video games. And it will be our first ever video game auction. I can say, Dennis from Wada Games has been unbelievable, helping educate us, helping us find supply. It will, even though it's our first one, it'll be the largest video game auction in the history of the hobby, larger than the Heritage one that took place last month. And the TCG is going to be amazing, and the comic book is going to be amazing. That auction will be, on its worst day, a $10 million auction. On its best day, who knows? I expect a lot of records to be broken in Pokemon, in comic books, and in video games. Jared Mast is heading that up for us. We have a lot of help. We have a lot of consultants. I've got a bit of a comic book background myself. I did that through middle school and high school as well. So
Jared was a great hire, Ken.
Huh?
Jared's awesome. Jared knows his stuff. He's a great hire. I've dealt with him before. I bought from him before.
I agree.
He knows his stuff. So that's a good guy to lead it.
So, so I'm helping in the comic books as well. I don't know anything about video games except the ones I played, but I am trying to learn. At least I've learned the grading scale.
So what's your favorite? Give me the top 2. Give us the top 2 Ken Goldin video games. What'd you play? Because, back in the 70s, what'd you play? Pong or Pong?
Yeah, exactly. Pong. Well, I won in 1983. I won the Cherry Hill Video Game Championship, and I had in my house a silver ball pinball machine, which was the winning thing. And the games back then were Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Missile Command, Dig Dug, Pole Position. I believe those were the games we competed on, and I won them all. But my favorite, I look, I always liked all the Mortal Kombat series. I love the Mortal Kombat Spat series, and back in its day, I liked NBA Jam.
NBA Jam.
Yeah.
He's on fire.
Yeah.
Love that.
How do you explain? So I do want to talk a little bit about NFTs, but like maybe you could cover this in a two-part question.
Sure.
How do you explain comic books, video games, these ancillary markets just going through the roof, right? We're traditional card collectors, and now you're seeing all of these ancillary markets have returns that compare, if not kind of destroy them. What's your thesis?
The thesis is that people have a lot of money, that the governments all across the world have devalued their currencies, that they've given a lot of people who are not working money, that they've given a lot of people who are working money, and that they've printed a lot of money, and it's raised the asset classes on homes, it's raised the value on stocks, it's raised the values on cryptocurrency, and there's just so much wealth that people are looking for places to put it. Some people don't trust the stock market anymore after the various crashes that happened, and then they think it's a rigged system because it crashes, and the guy talks about it's the worst. It is the damn it, I can't remember the guy's name. I was watching him on CNBC when he said it. The hedge fund guy. This is the worst event. It's a horrible event. At the same time he was doing that, he was buying calls like crazy on the marketplace because he knew who thought this was the bottom, and he made X number of $1 billion. So they lost some trust in the stock market. So a lot of people don't have money in that, and people who are, I'd say millennials and really Generation Z, they really don't have trust in the market. They'd rather have something, that is, that they feel they have more control over, whether it's an NFT, whether it's a trading card, whether it's a comic book, especially video games, where they think they understand it. They may really not understand, Procter and Gamble or Microsoft or something like that, but they feel they understand that market. And I think anything that is a collectible that can be authenticated by a third party, that can be graded, and that can have a population report is something that has the potential to take off. The NFT is a completely different market. I don't want to say that I am an NFT expert, and I don't want to say that I'm the biggest cheerleader of NFTs either. There are other people in my company that are more technology minded than I am. That would be that. It's amazing to me. I always was the youngest in this industry. I mean, I was a 14-year-old kid, growing up. I remember I made this find of 1951 Topps redback cases, and David Kohler, who was probably like 22 at the time, kept calling me every week. How many boxes you've left? I'd say 4 boxes left. I didn't want to tell him, hey, I had 250 boxes of this stuff I found. But I remember always being the youngest, and now, I feel like I'm the oldest. I was at the, I guess the guys at Card Ladder had an event, and I was in that, and I looked around. I said, I think I'm the oldest person in this room. It's just a new feeling for me. So the NFTs is not my personal thing. However, I can understand how people like it, why they want to collect it, why they think it's unique the same way as cryptocurrency, and to each their own.
I'm curious. So you were always the youngest. You just said that. There's a lot of kids out there. I mean, I know one Rips, just to bring him up. He's sitting with a 6-7 figure collection.
Yep.
What fatherly advice would you have for some of these content creators and some of these collectors that, by the age of 16, 17, 18 years old, they've already amassed more wealth than a lot of people in their whole lives? What would you suggest to them?
Well, the first thing is everything I do, I always look at it as a balance. Okay. I believe that all asset classes are important. I don't think anybody you ever hear the expression, don't put too many eggs in one basket. I truly believe that. There are people in the hobby who may have a $10 million collection and they're worth $100 million or more. But there are actually people in the hobby who may have a $10 million collection and they may be worth $10,500,000. And a lot of people at home may have just laughed. I can put it differently. There may be people in the hobby who have a $750,000 collection and are worth $775,000. Okay. I think that's too much. I think you want, I'm definitely not a financial advisor, but I think that if you spread You spread it. I'm saying even if you're into collectibles, you can spread it across different type of collectibles. Don't, even like these player collectors. I have a $5 million collection. What is it? I've got $5 million worth of LeBron James cards. Okay. Now he would be someone I'd be a little bit more comfortable with because he's not going to do something in his career that's all of a sudden going to end his career. But somebody saying, I just bought $500,000 worth of Tyler Hero cards, then I'd say, okay, it's a little, it's a bit of a problem. So I think that everybody should be diversified.
Andrew loves Tyler Hero, by the way, and Andrew loves Tyler Hero, and he puts all his eggs in one basket all the time. All his eggs are in my basket. That's it.
Ken, you're a Sixers fan, right?
Yes, I am.
Do you remember when Tyler Hero in the regular season of last year, when we went to the overtime versus the Heat, and Tyler Hero had that dagger 3?
There's the Get the real Ken. Look at the smile.
I said Tyler Hero was underrated last August, and they won't let me live it down. That was in the bubble, and he went off. It was bubble hero.
He was great in the bubble. He was really, really good in the bubble until the finals.
Disappeared.
He went up against the veterans. Cage, if we could shift gears, we got a question here in the comments, a few people, and we always say this to our audience, with all these new companies coming up and being built, give everyone a try. Just taste so you would know. There's a lot of companies that now have created vaults. Talk to us about the Goldin vaults. People have questions about that.
Sure. So we basically, this is the approach we're taking. We are not looking at the Goldin vault to make us any money. In fact, we are looking at it as a loss leader. Here's why use the Goldin vault. First of all, why use any vault? So let's say you place an order, you win something off eBay, you win something off another auction house, or you win something off Goldin. In 35 states you're paying, or maybe 40 states now, you're paying sales tax. The vault is in Delaware. It's a sales tax-free state. You ship it there. You don't pay sales tax. Boom. You're saving 6 to 9% off your invoice, depending where you are. In addition, with Goldin, there's no shipping fee. So you don't pay shipping, you don't pay insurance, goes to the vault. We insure everything. So it is there, it's insured. You don't need to worry about insurance. So a lot of people trust their homeowners insurance and other insurance policies that really do not insure collectibles, really do not insure trading cards or other things. They think it's covered under a fine arts policy. It's not. Something else that you've got to keep in mind. A lot of these insurance companies, you may say a card is worth $5 million. They're going to say, prove it. Okay. With us, the way our insurance policy works is it's all based on, I'm an expert. Dave Ammerman who works for me as a certified licensed appraiser, certified by the government, certified by insurance companies, certified by, the IRS. So, we go out and give an appraisal. It's the same thing as somebody making a donation and filing a form. So, it's covered. It's insured by us. It's going to be covered. There is software. You'll be able to log in. We digitize all your items. You will be able to see them at any point in time. We're going to be offering peer-to-peer transactions. So one vault owner will be able to sell something to another vault owner at a minimal fee. And the other thing is we're not charging for life. Anybody doing any type of vault transaction with us in 2021, anybody depositing, whether it's 10,000 or 10 million, if you keep your stuff in our vault for 6 months or 6 years, you will never pay a fee.
Can I throw something on Ken's deal here? This is one of those not an or and thing, right? So I'm a PWCC vault user, but I also have cards in Ken's vault. I think I was one of the first 6 people to say, yeah, sure, go ahead. I won some cards in the last auction. Throw them in there. Let's go. And they got to work out the kinks. I mean, it's a new thing. I'm one of the first ones to ever do it, but why not? You know what I mean? Why? I mean, you've touched on all the things, and it doesn't have to be one or the other. And you know what? If you win 10 cards, you want some at home because you want to hold the card, send some home, send some to the vault. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be an all nothing thing. And listen, Ken's not saying this, but having it in the vault, it's ease of use for the owner to flip that switch. One button click and it's back in Ken's auction in a month, 2 months, next year, you name it. And if you're vaulting it now, you may want to sell it in a year or two. He's not charging you. You know what I mean? And then you, boom, push a button and Ken's going to sell it for you.
Here's the other thing to keep in mind. Where you guys? Where am I speaking to you from right now?
8.75%.
No. What state?
New York. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in Mexico.
Okay, you're in Mexico. Okay, fine. You're in Mexico.
Yeah, I needed to get out of here. I
Okay,
get
so
out of
you
the States for a little while.
Okay, so you definitely need a vault. So here's the scoop.
I definitely need a vault.
Yeah, Delaware is not in the boondocks. I won't use the expression I use in my office where some other vaults are, as in bum f whatever. But Delaware is within a 3-hour driving distance of virtually 45-hour driving distance of 40% of the country. If you live in New York City, you know, and we're not afraid of it. Okay, we know nobody's getting into the vaults. You want to drop off stuff in person, you can drive to our vault and drop it off in person. You want to pick it up, you can drive there, COVID, no COVID. You can drive there and pick it up. You want to meet somebody and have a conference room to show them your stuff in person and possibly do a transaction, you can drive there. It is so much more convenient than shipping it to somewhere where the nearest airport takes 5 hours and 2% of the population of the country is within a 10-hour drive. So we think having it in Delaware is a big advantage. Here's another really big advantage. Who owns Goldin Auctions? Collectors Holdings. What's the aggregate net worth of all the people who own Collectors Holdings? Probably $250 billion. So the odds of something negatively happening financially with Goldin and your holdings in a vault being impaired or frozen because of that are none. Any of these other companies have a vault, if something negative financial happens, something else negative happens, you know, card prices go down and they're overextended and things get frozen, then you've got to deal with getting it out, which if it's proper custodian, you will get it out. But if you've got an option where there's zero risk, why not take the option with zero risk? And, you know, I will say this, we started from behind some of our competitors in technology. As I've joked about that it's amazing what I've accomplished using 2003 technology. But we have really what I would call a Manhattan project going on right now, not only with our vaulting software, but with our platform software, which will be up in October. And it's going to blow everything that everybody else has away.
I love it. And
consummate salesperson, right? He's always selling, this guy.
I was going to say.
Always selling.
Will there be a podcast booth, a production studio for guests like Luca Nation Network in there?
We actually know we not at the vaults. However, we are planning a party. You know, we are planning a party at the vault in 2022, or at least near the vault, where we're going to have some of our celebrity owners, such as you know, Kevin Durant and D Wade and Alex Rodriguez.
You're not invited to that either, Andrew. So don't get excited.
What's A-listers? A-listers
and the vault owners you know, to just, hey, break bread, meet. But however, speaking about a production studio, so we took 15,000 square feet next to our current building. So we took 15,000 square feet. What we're doing is, you know, the office is done, but we're constructing a studio and we're constructing my office because I don't want one of those normal little boxy. I want an exciting office. I said, we're building out my office. You know, Ross tells me he's from the technology world. He can sit in the cubicle. I say, fine, you can sit in the cubicle. You know, I'm going to have a big fat ass office with everything I wanted in it.
NBA Jam. I'm going to be upset, Ken, if there's not a full-size NBA Jam machine in your office. Let's go. So we're going to have the warehouse, accounting, and that type, you know, that stuff in the old building. The new building is customer service and consignment, and content. So the whole back third of the office is all studios, all content, which not only is for us to make our own, but you know, the TV show was officially picked up. I'm not allowed to mention who it is. I'll get into that in a second. And you're probably, you know, by the way, one thing about me is I sometimes have diarrhea of the mouth, especially when I'm talking about the hobby. So you may have to like cut me off. I know I said I had to be out of here by a certain time, but you may actually have to cut me off.
So what we're going to do is we will have a studio there with multiple sets and multiple setups. I got a good view of some of the things that Barstool did when I was out there Tuesday with, where they've got different rooms, and different rooms are for different types of things. I really like that idea. So we're going to have that. It's going to be customer facing, which means the front third, we're going to have, it's not a store because it's not like come in and buy it, but basically almost like a South Jersey museum where people can come in, they can see really cool stuff, they can see real expensive stuff. We're going to rotate the displays, everything, all the key stuff we have on auction is going to constantly be on display there. And then we'll just, lock it up in the other building, at night. So that is, we are in there now. It is being built out as we are in there. So the TV show was officially picked up.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I wanted to put the logo. I didn't want to say anything. I wanted to just put the logo of the company that picked us up. It's a well-known logo on my Instagram and say nothing else. And I figured everyone would figure it out, know why I did that. But my producers
drop the news here. Drop the news here. Drop the news here for
my
Luca Nation.
producers tell me I'm not allowed to say who it is due to the fact that they will want to do. They will want to do it when once we. Or like a few weeks before we start airing. So I'm not allowed to say it is, but what I will say is going into this project, and I've got very, very high expectations, very high aspirations. I'm not a true TV type of guy, or I'm not an ESPN3 type of guy. So
Ken's more of the Ocho.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say if I had my 3 best case scenarios, that I would want to get pie in the sky before I started this process, that one of them is where we will be. There will be nobody watching here, no matter where you are in the world, that will not be able to see it. And pre-production starts in 2 weeks. Filming starts in the fall, and we will be up and running on air in time for the opening of baseball season 2022.
Wow. A lot to unpack there. So some comments. Some people say you're an HBO guy. Cage, a comment for you from Adam Lefko. He says you collect Digimon. So whatever that means.
I wish I could see these comments. Oh well.
Me too. I do a whole episode a week without. He tells me these are the comments. I have to believe him.
Yeah,
Ken, he could say whatever he wants. Ken, we
where,
have no idea.
Where can someone? A few people ask about signing up for the Vault. How do people sign up for the Vault in 30 seconds or less?
They go to. Good question. We sent them. I can't believe that anybody in the hobby doesn't get my emails. I'm always told we send out too many emails. So we sent out an email today about it. I believe it is on our Instagram page. By the way, if there's anybody out there who doesn't follow me, I'm at Ken Goldin everywhere, and Goldin Auctions is at Goldin Auctions everywhere. And I believe there is a link to it on the Goldin Auctions Instagram page. And if not, there will be tomorrow, because I'll tell my my guy that he's got to get something up.
I have a few more questions. How are you doing on time? I want to be courteous of your time.
So my wife comes. Hey, Jen, is Paul out there?
I shouldn't have asked. No.
I'll see Paul.
Cage,
Paul, are you there?
Any thoughts? Any questions you want to ask? I want to talk about the little man, because we've talked a lot about, the 6, 7, 8-figure collectors.
See if he wants to show his face.
Put Paul on camera.
I am good. Paul is playing video games. I asked my wife to go down and grab him, but I don't know if she will. Hey,
Ken.
Laura, you can FaceTime Paul and see if he picks up. I think she's watching. You can FaceTime Paul, see if he picks up, and tell him to come into.
Let the little dude play video games.
Oh, right. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me just put this on for 10 seconds.
What's up, Paul?
Say hi.
I've watched your videos on Facebook and Instagram. You're pretty good at what you do.
Oh, what's up? Okay,
Paul, I have the exact same pajamas,
We'll
Paul.
just walk 1 second. We're just going to go in the bar. We're going to go in the bar.
Nice. Let's get Paul a drink.
Okay, Paul. Go ahead.
What's up, Paul? What's your favorite?
Paul?
What's your favorite sport? What do you like to rip?
Baseball.
Baseball?
What's your second favorite?
Basketball.
Let's
Nice.
go. And Ken, I don't know if you know this. I'm a Philly guy too, Ken. So.
What are your favorite? Who's your favorite basketball player? Tyrese Maxey. Okay. What's your favorite basketball product to open?
I forgot what it's called.
He likes clearly
Get Prism?
Dunmers.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
And what about this one? He won't forget. What's your favorite baseball products to open?
Bowling Green.
Okay.
But when do I get to ask Paul a question?
Well,
Paul, what do you like? What do you like better? You like Oregon or Delaware? Shoot,
What do you like?
Oregon or Delaware? Just name
Delaware.
one. All right, look at this. Goes Delaware. There you go, Paul. I love it.
I'm gonna let you go. Say bye, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. See that? You got him prepped really well, Ken. That's amazing.
So one thing we didn't talk about is the guy or the girl who got into the hobby 6 months ago. Okay,
The guy or the girl got into the hobby when?
6 months ago, and there were a lot of them at the National. There were a lot of people that were making their first buys. A few of my friends came. It was their first time at National, first time buying cards.
Mm-hmm.
What do you suggest to someone who's coming into the hobby this early on? Prices are pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they're kind of drinking out of a water hose, so to speak. What advice would you have for them?
You don't need to build your collection in a day. The biggest advice I would give you is, and this I tell everybody, is that one sale does not make a price determination. One individual sale also does not determine a trend. That any sale, whether it's a low sale or a high sale, you can't base too much information except for the fact that on that particular day, at that particular time, that was what somebody was willing to pay for that item. I believe more in trends. I like to see patterns. If there's an aberration, note it and see what happens the next 2 or 3 times it comes out. Don't buy into hype. One thing I will tell you is that you collect what you like. However, if you are collecting, to collect and to have fun, buy what you like. If you are collecting to invest or for a long-term hold, make sure you're buying what everybody else likes. Just because, don't go on your own thesis. If you're new into this business and you think you know more than everybody else, and you think you've got the right strategy and nobody's done, you're going to be wrong. Okay.
Ken, I love that, by the way. People try to tell me all to buy what you love, and I tell them right back, buy what everybody else loves.
Exactly. 100% right. If you want to collect, and look, if you spend $10,000 and you don't care if your $10,000 is worth 6 next year or 22 next year, then buy what you love. If you care that your $10,000 is worth more next year, hopefully, buy what everybody else buy the sport. Look, you're going to find something you like. I don't understand how some people don't like, look, there are people who actually don't like LeBron James. I don't get it. Okay. There are people who don't like Kevin Durant. I don't get it. But so if you have basketball and let's say you don't like LeBron for whatever reason, fine. Buy another GOAT. Buy Kobe. Buy Jordan. Buy Luka. Okay, buy James Harden, and Joel Embiid, 2 guys I think are and Anthony Davis, 3 guys I think are grossly overlooked in card prices. But you can stick to the sport you like. Just if you don't like one particular player, but yeah, nobody knows everything. There is no Vegas Dave of the hobby. There is nobody who's 99-0. There's nobody who offers 25 whale picks and wins every whale pick every time. Okay?
Vegas Cage is better. Trust me. Ken, I got a question for you. And I
Yeah.
love that advice. But my question for you is this. Was it luck or strategy? Did it just happen to come together because of who you are that this worked out this way? Content, right? So it's funny. We're talking to somebody who is part of a conglomerate now. I don't know if we're allowed to use that word. But basically, it's an auction house. It's basically somebody who has run an auction house, right? And you talk about how you're building up a facility. And yeah, you want a cool office. And yeah, there's going to be a vault there. But you made time to specifically point out that you're going to have space for content, right? Yep. So I think it's amazing that your growth has coincided with that increase in content, in hobby content, in that combination of bringing that community together, right? And you combine that with the fact that you are the face of your auction house, right? And you put content out there.
Yep.
I can't say that about, there is no Mr. Heritage. There is no Mr. Robert Edward. I mean, there's 2 different names. I mean, if there was, that would be kind of cool. He used to play for the Patriots, Robert Edwards. But there's no Mr. Pristine who's going out there, putting up lives, opening boxes with the kids. it's a humanizing thing, right? Like when we went to Nationals, my first time at the National, believe it or not, after also 4 decades of collecting, and everybody was like, "Whoa, there you are! Hey, you look a little thinner. Yeah, I lost some weight. Thanks." But there's a person, right? There's a face. You are a face. You are a person. I guess that's just your personality. But was this like a concerted effort? Did you say, you know what, Goldin's going to grow and become the top one because I'm going to be the guy? Like, I'm going to go live. I'm going to do it. Or is it just you and it happens? A chicken or an egg kind of thing, right? So was this a plan, or did it just like, this is the way it worked?
It was not a plan. I mean, you know, I think more so the biggest plan I had was probably in 2016 when I sold that LeBron Ultimate Logo Man for $312,000, and it got more attention than the $3 million Honus Wagner. And that's when I said in my mind, you know, the modern cards aren't the same modern cards when I was in my 20s and 30s. They are a big business, and they are actually an investable commodity as opposed to, you know, junk product like, you know, they were in the 80s and 90s. And I made a concerted effort not only to understand and learn about that market, but to become the industry leader while everybody else was sleeping. And in 2020, you know, I just kicked everybody's ass. I mean, I just steamrolled over everybody. I mean, every single record sale. Now you see these record sales, and they're all by different companies with different cards, whoever gets the big cards. In 2020, you know, 19 of the 20 highest priced cards that sold in 2020, I sold. So I think that was my concerted effort. I saw the direction the market was going, and I went there first.
You know, Kendrick Perkins, right? If it ain't PSA, go away. You know, whatever it is. I mean, in 2020, if I had a Kendrick Perkins, if I could pay the guy, it was like, if it's a big card you hold him, you got to go with Goldin, right? I'd have Kendrick do the whole. I mean, that's really the way that it was. 2020 was your year, but I think really a lot of it is when you had an auction night, you came on, like you clicked the little circle, you're live.
You got to. I've always been comfortable in front of a camera. Obviously, I've done a lot of appearances. I was on QVC Network for 20 years. You know, talking and selling product and explaining product. You know, many other networks as well. And you know, was on ESPN and, you know, CNBC, all the business channels. So it was a natural. And, you know, to me, it was a lot of it to me started in you know, started with COVID. Really stuck at home with my kids who were being homeschooled. And what I did was I called up Fish, you know, because Paul needed, you know, was wanting to open up packs. So I called up Fish and I said, you need to send me like 20 boxes, 30 boxes. I called up Matt Bayer, name your guys may not know, but he's the owner of MJ Holding, which is a distributor of Walmart. And I'd probably call him my best friend in the hobby. I've known him for 28 years. And I told him, I said, I need a huge friggin' care package because this kid is driving me crazy. He won't do his schoolwork. So each day I would let him open up a box, and, you know, he started, you know, filming himself, and he'd pull and whatever, talk about the card, and then he'd just film it for himself. Thought he was going to be a YouTuber. And I said, you know, I really don't use Instagram that much, but let's try this on Instagram. So I think there was 57 days in a row we did a live on Instagram, you know, during the COVID lockdown, like 57 days in a row, we bust open packs. And it used to be the crap.
Don't fall off your chair on a live. Yeah,
the junk wax, you know, just to keep them busy. So like, this is classic trading card value pack, and this is classic all sport PPF. Actually, one of my favorite products of all time. I love this one. But then, of course, it graduated to, you know, any type of Topps Chrome, Bowman Chrome, Basketball Prism, 2003 Bowman Signatures, 2003, you know, Upper Deck Basketball, the whole bit. Because, you know, after he got sick of the cheaper wax and is into you know, the more expensive wax. But I think it just happened because I was comfortable with it. And also, to me, it seemed natural to talk to people about it. I mean, if there's crazy stuff going on, it is, you know, just talk to people. You know, yeah, I would go live during auctions. I mean, we had that big auction in January this year. You know, I went live, and at one point we had like 2,500 people watching my Instagram live. That was the one. You know, that was the one Lefko came on, and Gary V came on, of course. And there was somebody else who came on, but I was just explaining what was going in the hobby. And I know there's there was like 2 clips, one clip in particular. I don't know how many, somebody cut it up and edited. It was my comment about, you know, we're cool. We're not nerds anymore. We're, you know, I was sitting here in my office and talking about we're out of our basement and into the mainstream media. And I was referring to myself because I always collected in my basement. But yeah, I think people really associate with that. But look, I think it's difficult. Look, you can't all of a sudden take, you know, one of the consignment directors at Heritage and prop them up as the Ken Goldin of Heritage, or prop this guy as the Ken Goldin this. I mean, with me, I'm not somebody who got into this 5 years ago because of the money, or 3 years ago because of the money. I wasn't out there saying invest in this. I mean, I get so many messages, and I started getting them in 2019 a little bit, but a lot more in 2020, and now it's just like nonstop. But one guy wrote me, you know, thank me for all you do. It's like the first one is I got, thank you for all you do. You know, such a great inspiration, and you know, keep pushing the movement forward. That's just it. Keep pushing. I showed it to my wife and said, I didn't know I was leading a movement, you know, but I think what it resonates is that in so many industries and so many jobs and so many other things in life, if something good happens to somebody, people are jealous. They say, why didn't that happen to me? Or what did this guy do? Or he doesn't deserve it, or she doesn't deserve it. Our industry, it's truly the people who are really into it. It's really, you know, like, you know, I don't want to be sexist and say brotherhood, so I'll say family, but people really care about each other. You know, you watch a live break and somebody pulls a big card, it's not yours, you still get excited. So I think in this particular case, look, people can see, you know, I was selling cards when I was 13 years old. Okay. I'm not from Google. I didn't come from a software company. I didn't own a bunch of gyms. I don't, you know, I'm not a manufacturer. This is what I've always done. This is what I've always done. So I think people really take inspiration. Especially when we had the Cuban announcement, I had so many people saying, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for what you accomplished. I showed my parents the, you know, the article. I showed my wife the article. I showed my kids the article, because this reinforces what I've been doing. This reinforces. So I think to them, you know, what I've accomplished, you know, they feel that they're part of it, because this is not some phony who came off the street, who wasn't it. This is somebody who's legitimately been in the hobby in some capacity, you know, for 40 years. And now all of a sudden is at least in our business, a celebrity.
Well, there's some credibility there because you've been doing it for quite some time. You say Fish. I mean, in 2011, Fish sold me 33 cases on release day of 2011 Leaf Metal MMA. I opened more than 20% of the product. I loved it. I was like the only person in the world who did MMA cards.
Oh,
and you know,
you have them all.
Yeah, I don't. I got rid of every one of them. I wish I did. I mean, forget about it. It was such a great product. It looked like 2012 Prism in 2011. Maybe Leaf should look into that. But but you're right. It's the same people and it's credibility. I kind of feel bad. I mentioned this, but I walked into National, and like the 4th table I went to, I saw a dealer and I'm like, do you remember me? Like when I was a kid selling on Wall Street, literally on Broadway and Wall Street in the city with a showcase. You were there. You used to be there, and you were at shows in Staten Island and in Brooklyn in the 80s. I can't believe you're still alive. And I felt like bad, but I you know, like, you know, he was old then, you know. So, but there are people who've been doing this for a long time. That does extend a real level of credibility to you that a lot of people don't have. But I'll roll that into a question, right? Because you've been at, this is the 29th National, right? Right. And this is obviously the biggest one. And next year will be even bigger. And next year, I'm going to hold you to this. You didn't make the promise, but I'm making it for you. Whatever the special guest celebrity is, Andrew gets invited. So we're just going to pass on. There we go. It's in there. It's saved. It's in YouTube forever. But more importantly, what surprised you about this one? You had to come away with something that you were like an unexpected thing. The sheer amount of kids, the sheer amount of people, the fact that so many people wanted to take a picture with you. Like, what was it that you walked away and you're like, wow, that was a little bit of a surprise?
One thing that was, I guess it shouldn't be a surprise, is you know, obviously the grading aspect of the business is, you know, there's like no price elasticity. I mean, those booths were just jammed up the entire time, no matter what. I think the reduction in age, I mean, to me, what really surprised me is the people that flew in from out of the country. I had a family from the Philippines flew in, couldn't speak much English, but I saw them motioning with the security guard at the desk, pointing to a camera and pointing to me, and they the thing that surprised me most is how many people all over the world watch my videos. That's what it is. And out of all their videos, the favorites, is they all love to watch me break with Paul. And I think the biggest thing that surprised me was probably seeing the crowds at 11:30 at night who were doing this all day, and they couldn't stop. They still wanted to get enough. And it was like a release, okay? Like somebody who hasn't done something particular for a very, very long time, and they finally get to do it. It's like an orgy of trading cards, so to speak.
Good thing you didn't bring Paul.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Andrew. I know you got a couple questions, but
I just have rapid fire. So, Cage, if you want to ask any more questions, I just have a rapid fire one.
Let's go. That's my favorite.
All right, best steak at National, Ken.
I'm sorry.
The best steak.
Best fillet at National.
Best fillet National. I would say the Capitol Grill.
Capitol Grill. PSA 10 rookie card of Rocky or PSA 10 rookie card of Vince Papale?
Vince Papale.
Trade or
I gave
keep.
Papale as a play on our podcast once.
Trade or keep Ben Simmons.
Oh
no, there it is. No, you can't do that.
I would love for them to be able to trade them, but I know it's going to be another Markelle Fultz where they can't get any type of value, so they have to keep him, and they have to hope he's better. They will not. He is a really, really good player who performed at his absolute worst in the playoffs, especially the final series. I do not think they can get possibly fair value, so they have to keep him. They got hosed on Fultz. They got hosed by the Celtics drafting him in the first place. They got hosed on that trade. They could have had Tatum instead. Yeah, so I think as much as I would like to see them trade him and get a deal, I don't think that a good trade is out there for the Sixers.
You met a lot of people at National. Any content creator, any person, any booth, any business stuck out to you that if you would invest in them, you're like, these guys do it right, these girls do it right?
Us. Come on, next question.
Women of the hobby.
Women of the hobby. Yeah, there you go. Women of the hobby. No, look, I people that impressed me at National that I actually, one that I'd never only spoken to once in my life. The other is a group that I had spoken to a lot but never met in person. The Card Ladder guys and actually Jeff, Sports Card Investor. I think that he is really polished with his content. He is he's got a good following. And he's really, really polished. And I did this pack war with him, and it's got 100,000 views already, so I'm not going to complain.
If you're looking for polished, you're looking in the wrong spot coming here. But more importantly, right?
Speak for yourself.
Is that it? Well, you polish your toenails, but that doesn't count. So what else you got on the rapid fire?
That's all. I'm grateful. I mean, we went over by 23 minutes, and I want to respect Ken's time. He's got Paul at home. It's almost 9 p.m. on the East Coast.
I'll leave it with this, Ken. Will you sell a card sometime this year for more than $10 million in one of your auctions? Or is that coming next year?
Second part of the question, I don't know. Will I sell a card this year for over $10 million? Yes.
Because you might do private.
Will I sell a card for over $10 million in one of my auctions? Only if I get my way, because I view the auction as a great spectacle. I think that when people see it at auction, they see people bidding in the whole world. I love publicizing it. I love trying to find, like the Kobe Bryant jersey I sold for $3.6 million. No, I would have been ecstatic if it went for $500,000. But we promoted it, and I did a TikTok, and it had like 450,000 views. And
were you dancing?
A billionaire's son. No. I told Laura, who might be watching, when she said, "When did you create a TikTok?" This is like back in February, I guess. When did you create a TikTok account? And I said, "I don't know. I think they did it for me today." Why? He said, "Well, you just put one up, and it's got 50,000 views in the first hour." And I say, I am a middle-aged guy. I don't shake my boobs. I don't dance. I don't shake my ass. But I've got TikTok with 1 million views. So,
I shake my boobs when I walk, Ken. It's okay.
And Laura is watching. She just said that she is watching. So.
Okay. I would rather, and listen, she's working at Bleecker. She's interning for the summer, and she's putting together this Women of the Hobby. So if you're a woman, if you are a woman of the hobby, go there, and if you're not, go there anyway and support them. When is it? Next
August 10th.
August 10th. Yes, August 10th. I was gonna say next Tuesday, right? Next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to sell. I'd love to auction it for 10 because I think when these records are broken at auction, I personally think they are more meaningful than a private sale because it is public. Anybody can buy it that wants to buy it. You see how many bids. You know it's the real price. It's not potentially part of it. You just know. Not that any of the private sales reported are not legitimate, but we're just basically taking their word as opposed to, millions of people being able to see, yes, this sold at this price on this date and the hammer went down and that was the price. So I'd love to be able, I think I'm going to sell a card this year for over 10 million. I hope I have the chance to do it at auction, but actually there's only 5 months left out of the year. August, September, October, November. Yeah, 5 months. I think I've got a good shot of selling a card either privately or publicly for over 10 million this year.
Laura said, this is the direct quote. This is what she says happened. He said, I saw your TikTok and it only had 9 likes. I got 1 million views in 2 hours. So have you ever thought like a live auction at National, like the old school with the paddles and everything like that? Mm-hmm. Would that work or is that kind of...
Oh, the short answer is, and it just shows you're newer. The short answer is it will work. We ran them in 2016, 17, 18, and 19 at the National. Thursday night was always Goldin Auction night at the National. And that's when basically I fed everybody. I had this big party, crazy desserts, chocolate fountains, the whole bit. And we had live bidding and we had a live auction. And, it was live there and people can bid by phone and bid on the internet. And we did not do it because of COVID in 2020. We did not do it this year because of COVID as well. Will we do it again? It really depends on the environment. I think the hobby has kind of moved away from that live auction because it's too international. And to participate in a live event, you have to be really, to gain advantage, you have to be at that location at that time, or at least available at that time, as opposed to leaving a bid, hope you win it, or being able to push a button on your app and get it that way. But yeah, no, that is something we did for many years. It was Thursday night at the Nationals with Goldin Auctions.
Love it. You got to give up one, Perrier or Dave Ammerman. What do you give up?
Perrier. I love Dave.
All right, there you go, Dave. Look how much he loves you. All right, Ken, you've been the best. Thank you very much for this. We're kicking off Luca Nation's 10 for 10 with about as good as it gets here. Ken Goldin, the face of the hobby right now. I don't think there's any other way to say it.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ken.
Have a good night.